Welcome back to Season 2 of Money Isn't Everything, a show that explores rethinking value within financial services. If you are new here, I'm Mary Wisniewski, Cornerstone Advisors, Editor-at-Large, and host of the show. In today's episode, I sit down with Eric Carter, the Senior Vice President of Digital Solutions and the Innovation Officer at the Bank of New Hampshire. In today's call, we explore why this bank is giving customers corn cards, their reactions like, "Can I eat it?" and what other banks ought to consider when seeking to help the environment by reducing the amount of plastic they're issuing. We also get into how Eric's thinking about fintech partnerships in the post-Synapse crisis. Here's our convo. Eric, welcome to Money Isn't Everything. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, because, we go back to, I found you through the biodegradable card that your bank is using, and I want to get all into that. But there's only one segment on the show that we do all the time, and I actually want to start with it. And that's what you said. And what you said was an American Banker article, and you said, "I never knew that it takes 400 years for a debit card to degrade." And when you hear that, it's shocking. So, that was said a couple of years ago, but I was hoping you could walk me through and viewers through what made you even go down that rabbit hole to find that finding?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, our card vendor had, provided information about their different, card types. And, so then that kind of got me thinking. And then honestly, to your point, what I did say actually also in that article, I think, was that I realized that point when I realized that it's 400 years for a debit card to biodegrade, that I was part of the problem. And that's the thing that kind of shocked me. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for 18 years in this, in this role. And to think that I'm part of the problem, where I think I'm very, conscious on, the environment, and, my town recycles and we recycle, and, my children are very conscious. And to think that, I'm giving out all these thousands of, debit cards every year that are sitting in landfills and, causing, potential harm, it just shocked me. So that's what started the whole thought when I realized that, that bullet point really stuck with me. So that started the journey. And then, so we looked at the different options that were available to us. And, one is reclaimed ocean plastic. And, as my daughter, who's a marine biology major, that kind of piqued my interest, because I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then, I'm like, well, it's still plastic. So it still kind of bothered me. And then, the other one is recycled PVC plastic, and same thing, it's still plastic, though it's recycled. But then there was the corn, we call it the corn card. But it's basically non-edible corn that this card is made out of, and is under the right conditions, it's biodegradable, and can be composted. There's other, if you think about it larger scale, as the corn is growing, it's good for the environment and taking care of, carbon dioxide. And, it's just one of those things where in the whole picture, it was just a better fit for Bank of New Hampshire. And so that's why we went with that card.
And you went with it. Was it 2022?
Right. Yep.
So it's been, a few years now. And I know there's more interest building here. And I know MasterCard has made a declaration, come 2028, they're going all in on, rethinking their cards and so on when they're issuing new ones. But do you still feel at your bank, are you still in the US specifically, do you think it's very rare to have a non-plastic card?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, we had a really hard time. I was looking for other people to, kind of talk to and, steal ideas from as far as marketing and stuff. And I really couldn't find anybody. I know that, I had heard Bank of America was going with the reclaimed, I think, ocean plastic. And,
that's right.
But I haven't heard anything more on that in recent years. So I'm not sure if that went through. But besides that, I really hadn't heard of anybody else. And quite honestly, it was Europe. We found some financial institutions in Europe that were doing it, and actually had some really creative marketing campaigns that were kind of got my marketing team chuckling. But yeah, no,
Well,
to your point, it's
that's a
not.
cliffhanger. What kind of marketing campaign that got the team chuckling? What does that look like?
Oh yeah, I can't remember. I think it was Ireland. But they had done a big billboard, and it was just a big ear of corn, and actually like extending beyond the billboard, where like the your corn on the cob holders. And it was kind of like saying how their card was made out of corn. So they really went heavy with the it's a corn card. So that's what's kind of funny. We
Yeah.
we definitely get the comments from customers when they're like, well, can I eat it, or can I is it going to melt in my pocket? And so that's a good thing about this card, is that clearly Mastercard wouldn't let us do this if they didn't support it. And these cards, really, you can't tell the difference between that or PVC. So it's the same life as a typical plastic card.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember when we talked, I guess it was last year now, maybe a whole year ago, roughly, but remember you saying, yeah, customers are asking, hey, can I eat this card? Maybe it was even in your FAQ. Maybe it still is. I don't know. But
Don't eat it.
like,
Don't
is
eat the
that
card.
question still, yeah, is that question still coming up?
It comes up on occasion. It's really, but that's what's fun about it, is that it's a good talking point. When you're opening accounts and you tell them that they have a biodegradable debit card, and that's made out of corn. That it definitely is a conversation starter. So yeah, no, the staff enjoy it. Customers enjoy it. New Hampshire, I think is we love our lakes and streams and mountains and the ocean, and it's just one of those things where it just fits really nicely with who we are and what we're about.
Yeah. And I mean, let's talk a little bit about the math here, because I know you have a different setup than other banks. But this card, it costs a little bit more than what you were issuing before, right?
Yeah, the cost was about 30 cents per card more.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I pitched it to the senior team, and yeah, no hesitation, we went forward with it. And to your point, I mean, I think it's kind of the same exercise we did back in 2009, which is really hard to believe. But 2009, we were one of the first. We were a beta for Mastercard in a lawn for the contactless debit card, which is now
Mhm.
mainstream. But in 2009, which was a long time ago, we waited a long time for that to get to where we needed it to be. But yeah, we launched the contactless card, which was more expensive, and we kind of thought that it was going to be something that was going to be valuable in the future. We just didn't realize it was going to be that far into the future. But we stuck through it, and yeah. So my point is that it kind of acclimated us to that increased expense that we are going to have anyways. And the same thing with the biodegradable card. It might be costing us more now, but I think like you said, Mastercard mandate's coming, and we'll just be ahead of the curve, and not have to worry about dealing with any kind of deadlines on that.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's like these are such big numbers that it's hard for me to like visualize it. But like, how many do you have the exact number of like how many cards are issued in the U.S. every year, or like worldwide, or like or more specifically to your
Um,
bank? How many are you?
it's kind of funny you said that, because I actually was looking that up ahead of time. It said I found an article that said 3 billion plastic cards are shipped worldwide, globally, so each year. So it's yeah, it's a lot of cards, and
That's a
that's
lot of cards.
globally.
And that's a lot of plastic. And yeah, it's one of those things that, I certainly think about, climate change, but I hadn't been thinking about like the plastics that a bank uses. And then, we hear so much about like digital banking that you sort of like lose the thread that no, there's, there's a lot of people swiping still. And it's not just all Apple Pay or Apple Pay with your phone or whatnot. But I'm wondering also how you think about, you know, how to know to keep a better version of a card when it's also like the non-physical, or I guess it's still physical, but it's different. Like there'll come a day where we're using cards less and using our phone more, presumably, but I'm wondering like how you think about that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Like, it really would be nice if we didn't have to issue plastics. I think everybody would be really excited about that, because, we still see card compromises, and it's not what it used to be, with EMV and whatnot. But it's just one of those things where, we are looking at digital issuance here at Bank of New Hampshire. We haven't done it quite yet. So when you open an account, we can just push it to your wallet or actually give you the debit card number and PAN and the CV value and everything you need digitally. So it's something we're
Mhm.
looking at, but it's still, whether you're going to a craft fair, you know, um, or to hobby stores. I mean, you still need a plastic. I think it's getting funny though because it is. Uh, I noticed the other day I was walking into the store and the Salvation Army was out front, and I don't. Maybe you've seen this, but yeah, they had like a billboard, like with different contactless readers on the billboard for $5, $10, $20. So you can't even be like, I don't have any change on me or anything anymore because now they're accepting, contactless payments for the Salvation Army. And it's the same thing with the Girl Scouts. I was going in, I didn't have any money on me. The Girl Scouts were out front, and I'm like, oh, I don't have any cash. And they're all right. And they pull out their contactless reader. I'm like, oh, you guys are good. So yeah, so it's going to get to that point where we won't need the cards. It should be on your phone or your watch, or again, Venmo, PayPal. There's all kinds of ways to pay today. So at this point, clearly plastic is replacing cash, but at some point, hopefully, digital is going to replace the plastics.
Yeah, I'm glad. No, I haven't seen the Salvation Army thing, but I have seen like the musicians with the like QR code for like Venmo or something like that. So I've seen that, and I think there's like special apps made specifically for like ballet drivers too, because I always, like that's always a moment when you're like, you need a couple,
Right.
you need $5 or something to be able to
Yep.
get, but sometimes there's an
Absolutely.
app. Yeah,
Yep. No,
sometimes
so
there's
I
an
know
app.
it's coming. I wish it would get here quicker because these compromises and the fraud that we see, is still painful. And clearly, a mobile wallet is safer with tokenization. That it's a better mechanism to make that purchase. But until we can get everybody over there and not using. I mean, gosh, I don't know if anyone's using a knuckle cruncher anymore, but those craft fairs. Remember always seeing the people with
Oh
their
yeah.
knuckle crunchers doing your debit card. So you see it
Oh
from time to time.
wow. Okay. Well, yeah, some things stick around. Well, what about Eric? I'm curious, like, if you were having a conversation with another bank or credit union or even a fintech company that's like, hey, I should really like do something like this. Um, is there advice you have for like, here's a good first step, or like, here's a lesson learned, or like, yeah, what kind of advice do you have
Yeah, no,
for?
I mean, this is one of those, yeah, not like a trade secret here. I mean, I think, that was kind of my whole, mission with doing the article with American Banker is really, I think everybody should get involved in, it's, overcoming the hurdle of the additional expense. But, I think that the marketing and the goodwill that you can generate, from it is worth the investment. And, I think it differentiates your card, at least for now. It's clearly, for Bank of New Hampshire, a differentiator. So I think that having more involved in cutting out the generation of these plastic cards is a good thing, and I think everybody should do it. I think we didn't have any hurdles. Technically the card works. It's a contactless card, as I mentioned. So no issues there. No issues with wearability. We're not replacing more cards or anything like that. So the card acts just like a plastic card. And yeah, it's really just the investment on the cards and the investment on the your marketing expense. But once you deploy it, your people will talk it up. Word of mouth gets around. A newspaper article here and there, and yeah, no, it's an easy win. Highly recommend others do it.
Well, I think it's really cool. And well, we haven't talked about it yet, but like the composting part of this, how does that work? How does this card break down naturally?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it does have that. It specifies an industrial compost for it to be like under the right conditions and such. So, I think, for it to be certified for biodegradable, it has to be able to compost within 6 months under the right conditions. And that's what
Mhm.
our card does. Will it biodegrade in your backyard in 6 months? Probably not. Might take longer, but it will biodegrade. It just may be under, different conditions. So, um, Yeah, no, I think, we don't do anything special. And that's why I think even when we were looking at the other plastics, whether it be recycled PVC or, even like we, considered the metal cards. And it just was one of those things where having to manage taking them back and recycling them or whatever, was just really more painful than we wanted to get into. So that's why, you know, um, if these things end up in a landfill and you don't compost them, again, the good news is that it's not generating any toxins when it's getting released into the soil. So, it's still just a good thing either way, even if it doesn't get composted.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really beautiful thing. And it definitely sets your bank apart from institutions across the USA. And I wanted to explore also like other things you're thinking about for let's specific to digital banking of like things that are, adding value for customers. I've long heard like, banks have this fear of being in the commodity business, can't just be holding money and expect to like last or that kind of thing. And I'm curious, I know I saw that you have like bill subscription features, I think through Bill Shark. And I'm just kind of curious about how you're thinking about like, oh, I want to partner with these fintechs to help, you know, um, rethink what a bank account can offer.
Right. No, no, agreed. Yeah, that's what kind of makes my job fun, is that finding that new way to do banking. And, so to your point, we did add to our Q2 marketplace, which is our online banking provider, Bill Shark, which is a way for customers to lower their monthly bills by, really it's a white glove solution where, they will pay for that service, but Bill Shark will you give them all your bills, and they will go and negotiate the bills. And honestly, I wasn't really sure about it. I'm like, well, how much can they really save you? And even when I did it myself, and one of my pet peeves was my I won't call out the person, but my exterminator for ants, and just said, oh, I'll try that, and they came back and saved me $330 for the year. So I'm like,
Oh,
all
wow.
right, this works. So it's just one of
Yeah.
those things where I think, if anything, I think customers are skeptical about it, just like I kind of was, and I
Yeah.
think it's us trying to overcome that with them and say, no, this is legit, and then if they can't find the money savings for you. You don't pay anything, so you can't lose on the deal. And so customers are slowly adopting that. And an eco for digital investing. We've launched that this year as well. So we've put within online banking digital self-directed type of digital investing solution to compete with like the Robinhoods and the acorns, and that's going really well. We're really happy with the results there. So being able to, that's the nice thing about our online banking solution, where they have that open SDK where other fintechs can buy the developer kit and then embed their solution within our online banking environment. So it keeps us, you know, being allowed to innovate and look, like we're an innovative bank with these, digital solutions that, we also have Experian in there. So if somebody's, has, fraud on their account, or they
Mhm.
have been a victim of, identity theft, they can do that through online banking. So we keep, trying to find other things to add to this marketplace, to make it more than just, checking and savings accounts. We can make their financial life easier, improve their financial health, which is also important to us. So yeah, no, it's we enjoy being able to find these solutions. I think hopefully regulators will be kind, because I think that's one of those things is we're conservative, and we're not doing anything that is borderline. We are we're going to do the safe, easy stuff. But I worry with the Synapse situation, if we'll get scrutinized a little bit with these relationships. But I think we've got our I's dotted.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was going to ask you more about that. Like, do you find yourself, are you more apprehensive, or you're just going for it because, these can be useful services? Or are you going to like be, I'm trying to find the right word in my head, but we'll just use the word harder. Harder on fintechs trying to work with you.
Agreed.
Or,
Yeah, yeah. No, I
yeah.
think In light of the situation, for sure, we're going to be more diligent in our review of that fintech. And I think also understanding where all the different touch points are. I think that's the thing with the Synapse thing is that I think some of the vendors that got caught up in that didn't think that there was any risk involved. I don't think that some of the customers that got caught up in it thought there was any risk as well. And I think when you're, I think we had a, we added a question to our survey for our vendors because we're kind of like now, all right, well, are you using, a third party? Are you doing banking as a service? What financial institution have you partnered with? So I think
Mhm.
we're going deeper to make sure that we understand all the different touch points in case something were to happen. Um, but yeah, no, it's not going to stop us. I think it'll probably slow us down a little bit, so we're more diligent. But no, I think you got to evolve or die. So I think it's one of those things where we're going to keep pushing ahead, but just cautiously.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And those are like really good follow up questions to ask, the potential vendors that you'll be working with. Because I'm also sensing like there seems to be more added confusion around FDIC insurance. And, you see bad labels from fintech companies like promising it. And it's like, not true at all. But I'm curious, I mean, from your customers, have you seen any more like interest in being like, hey, is my money protected, or is this like still like in the weeds and most people wouldn't think about this unless they're using the fintech apps that were affected?
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't hear a lot on the. I was worried, and we didn't hear a lot on that. So I think, if we were partnered with somebody who got caught up in it, then yes, I think that it probably would have been more of a hot topic. But yeah, no, I think at this point, it's, we kind of, dodged that. I think most people don't know what Synapse, was or is. And, but I think, you know, I'm not for, additional regulation. I just hope that, out of this comes some good because I know a lot of people, lost, significant amounts of money in this situation, and it's just unfortunate because you don't want to, hurt that confidence in the system. And I think it's just one of those things where, the people that got caught up in it. I've been listening to the the court hearings, and it's just one of those things where so many people said, I'm not a risk taker. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't, I don't gamble. It was said it was FDIC insured. And it's really sad because, their life savings was, in there. And then, they're getting confirmation back from the bank that, out of the $200,000, they're going to get $8 out of it. So, I think it's just one of those things where it's a bad situation. And I just think as an industry, we got to learn from it so that these mistakes can be avoided in the future and not happen again.
Yeah, it really is so sad because it's definitely that, yeah, I didn't think I was taking any risk, right? This is not, yeah. Um, so let's hope the industry learns from this. And, Eric, as we're looking into 2025, I mean, is there anything that you're especially focused on or interested in, or you're like, this is a really important plot line in fintech or banking?
Yeah, I mean, nothing at this point for Bank of New Hampshire, anyways. I mean, we're going to be preoccupied. We just signed up with Mantle to do online account opening, so
Oh,
that's going to
cool.
be keeping us, busy for a bit. And but no, we're my whiteboard's always full, and we're always looking at the new and upcoming items. Fed Now origination,
Yeah.
RTP. That's another thing that we're considering. So I think we'd like to be an early adopter on the origination side. We already receive, but it seems like everybody's in a holding pattern on being an originator. So I think we'd like to go there, and again, conservatively, and probably start with businesses first for B2B, and then at some point, we use pay rails for P2P. So I think they're going to be ready also early next year for these different rails. So I think those are the two things I'm looking at for 2025. Um, but that's a nice thing about this job is that it can change in a minute. So
I can change in a minute. And I'm also just now, this is a follow on for you. It's like, how does one make, like, how does an idea make it to your whiteboard? Do you have like ooh, yes. Is there like a thread line that you can recognize as like, yes, this is what's bringing me to want to explore this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's definitely reading the industry articles on different topics and such, and we're an Alloy Labs member as well. So I mean, I think with the team, like we always seem to get new ideas, and they're always with incubators and stuff. I kind of keep my thumb on what's going on. So yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things where you just keep listening and finding those opportunities that fit your niche, and say that would be really nice here. So we're always kind of looking for something that's going to differentiate the bank. But yeah, I think really just keeping up on what's going on in the industry. Finovate is another one we typically go to, which is you get a lot out of Finovate, where you see all kinds of ideas that you didn't even think of, and then you come back and you say, hey guys, got I need a bigger budget, but yeah, I have all kinds of ideas.
That's words I always feel that are true for myself.
Yep.
Well, Eric, I just have one last question for you, but before I ask it, just any last thoughts you want listeners to especially focus on, or like where if someone wanted to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, anybody, if any of these talking points are of interest, yeah, please reach out to me. My email is eric.carter@bnh.bank. And I'm more willing than ever, really, especially with the contactless and the biodegradable debit cards, to talk to people about that and getting those wheels turning there. But yeah, any other topics, I enjoy going to these different trade shows, and if you happen to be there, please stop me and ask me questions.
Well, that's an open invite, so that's wonderful. I know when I popped into you, I was very excited. It seemed to be a mutual thing.
Anytime.
Yeah. Okay, Eric. Last question for you is: what's the image on your phone's lock screen?
Oh, my daughters.
Aw, are they doing something in particular, or is it just like a cute shot of
Yeah,
them?
well, we were in. My daughter was study abroad last year
Yeah.
in Aix on Provence in France. So it's just
Oh,
some
cool.
French pictures of
Uh-huh.
some beautiful night skies in France.
Yeah. Well, that sounds very dreamy. And on that note, Eric, just thanks for being on Money Isn't Everything. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Bet, I appreciate it.
This is one thing I already knew, but want to reinforce because I think it's super important. And I only knew this because I interviewed Eric about a year ago before, but it is a shocking statistic. And it is that it takes 400 years for a debit card to biodegrade. Wow. Join me 2 weeks from now. I'll be sitting down with Elizabeth McCloskey, who leads True Stages Discovery Fund, a fund that focuses on supporting underrepresented leaders in fintech. See you then.